A couple of things. One being the Battle of the Badges boxing event. These guys are Joey's hosting, and that's next weekend, right?
Friday night,
Friday,
the 10th
next,
at 7 p.m.
Oh, the 10th. Okay.
At the
All
Punch
right,
Train
awesome.
Center.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. You want to tell us a little bit about that? What's the badge? So it's fire department against the police department, right?
Yeah. How it got started, Dennis Wall started it 19 years ago in Monroe, Louisiana. It's grown tremendously since then. And he, in fact, lives next door to Ricky Norris, who's our commissioner for MMA for the Athletic Commission in Louisiana. And Ricky had been asking me to look into it. And I went to a show in Shreveport to look at it. And then I took Marn and Angel with us to Monroe in August to look at it again. And it was at that point when I decided, I saw, the audience and the family camaraderie and work camaraderie of all the police and the firemen. I said, I want to do this event. Ricky, you're right. We're going to try this out.
Yeah, if I can interrupt, it's a perfect outgrowth of what we do in martial arts. And it comes together in such a way where we can share what it is that we're passionate about, but at the same time make a big difference. And as a first responder myself, I can put a lot into it. And it's just when I first got involved in it as well, I said, man, this is really, really a positive thing that can help us to spread our message with martial arts, but at the same time, give back to the community.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Awesome. What, how many fighters or how many fighters you'll have?
Last I looked, 17 fights.
Okay. Yeah. Nice.
I'm hoping we have, some people may get hurt or decide to pull out the next week or so, but if we have 12 to 14 fights, we're going to be.
That's a good card. Yeah.
I'll be refereeing it as you normally see me in MMA refereeing, but I'll be refereeing this event. Make sure everything goes the right way.
Awesome. And as far as weight classes,
we try to keep all the guys within 10 to 12, 15 pounds of each other in the heights. So we match them more in skill, in weight and age is what we try to do. This is not an event for somebody to go take somebody's head off. This is a family-friendly event to enjoy, perform, and raise money for the causes that we're doing it for.
Nice. Awesome. And where is it held again?
The Punch Train Center in Kenner.
In Kenner. Okay. Yeah. Right off at the end of Williams.
What time we start? At 7, right?
7 p.m. Doors open at 6.
Okay.
Just got to be there by 5. Yeah.
Right.
Awesome. It's a fundraiser event for an organization you guys are
several organizations.
Several organizations.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about those?
We wanted to see what was we like giving directly back to those in need. I'm not interested in giving it to big organizations so they can spread the pay. We want to give directly to the people who are involved.
Right.
And
one of our causes is going to be for Dante Vega. He's a deputy. He's a deputy sheriff. His dad's a deputy sheriff. His grandpa was a police officer as well. So he comes from a first responder family line. Well, he was involved in a motorcycle accident where he got hit, and he's had a really rough road. So we're going to try to use a lot of the money that's made in this event to help him and his family out.
Okay. Nice. And if people can't make it to the event, is there some place they can donate to the cause? Just
yes.
Yes. Do you have a website or something?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Dante Vega, you can go to gofundme.com/561B1DD4.
Okay.
So those are 2 of the causes. We actually have one other, which is the New Orleans Memorial Stair climb.
Okay.
You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So it's fire department driven, and they get together several times throughout the year, and they honor everybody who was fallen at 9/11. So they go through and they do the stair climb with all gear and everything, and they
as many flights as
yes. Right. Considering it's New Orleans, we don't really have somewhere with that many flights. You have to go all the way up and then all the way down.
Right.
But they do it in all the gear, and the cool thing about them is they honor the family and all those who fallen within that last year. And 100% of their profits go to the family. So no matter what type of service member it is, whenever they pass, they go ahead and put that directly to the people.
Okay.
Yeah, we need more stuff like this. Between fire, police, EMS, it's a dangerous job and it's not getting any easier.
Yeah.
So we need to do more things like this in order to contribute because I mean, as much as I hate to say it, the state and the government, and they definitely don't take as good care of first responders as they need to. This also includes military.
Right.
So when you want to make a change, the best way to do it is to make it yourself.
Yeah. And the third one at the top here is martial arts for kids, the MAC.
Yeah.
Right. And that's a new one that you guys are starting.
Yeah. Well, I started it before the pandemic, but when the pandemic hit, we just kind of had it on hold.
Mm-hmm.
And then we filed again to get our 501 status, and we got it about 6 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
What it is, throughout my life coaching, I've been coaching since, I started in 72, but I've been really coaching and teaching since 77. And I've had so many students that, had to, come to me and tell me, Mr. Joe, we can't afford to come over. You can't tell these kids no.
Right.
You just can't do it.
Right. And if it's something you love.
Yeah. And you're passionate about it. So you just say, no, don't worry about it. I got it. And you keep on coaching them. But you still have to make a living.
Yeah. You got to pay your bills.
Yeah, you got to pay the bills for your family and everything else.
Keep the school open.
That's
you
why
got to keep the school open.
When I had my gym, it was so ironic. I had a gym upstairs and a ballroom downstairs. We did other things, but the money was made through different forms of businesses. We couldn't survive on a martial arts school alone. Mm-hmm. So I've always been had multi businesses to cover each one.
Right.
But my passion was coaching and teaching. So I've noticed that there's a lot of guys out there that did the same thing I did, still doing it, and they still here in the city.
Yeah. So
I wanted to form something where they wouldn't lose their kids, but they still wouldn't lose the income that they needed to support their own families. Because I'm blessed, man. I kind of changed my career lifestyle, and I got a bunch of properties and rentals and everything after Hurricane Katrina. I kind of learned about it, what was really needed in this city.
Yeah.
And then the martial arts promotion started, doing better for us. Mm-hmm. And so I said, well, it's about time that we, use what I know and what I've learned in trial and error over all these 40, 50 years I've been in martial arts and put it to use and help these other guys and coaches and these students that don't want to quit. Right. It's heartbreaking when the parents, and some parents, I'm gonna tell you, some parents in the past says, no, if I can't pay, I'm not coming.
Yeah.
I'd have to actually argue with them. Says, no, you're going to come and you're not going to quit, and don't worry about the bill. Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so
I've been there too. I've done that too with people I've trained. Yeah. And I mean, I can say this, that sometimes the kids that need the training the most are the ones who can afford it the least. Yeah. Because the benefits that martial arts do and have on a young life it's just an astronomical transformation when it's coached properly. And the thing is that the kids that need it the most often it's the most inaccessible too.
I mean, and that's a common knowledge. I mean, there's movies about that, how it saved people.
Right. But I mean, we live in a world where economic realities are what they are. And at the same time, if we're going to do something to help young people with an activity like martial arts, that's going to help them grow and help them get a lot stronger and more resilient and more adaptable to real life. I mean, we have to look in the mirror and make that change. And like I was saying before, so this martial arts for kids thing, we're going to take kids that want to train but can't necessarily afford it, and we're going to match them up with a facility that's close by that'll take them in and that they can actually train with. And it can be an indefinite thing, and we're going to track it. We have a lot of things in place that's going to keep it accountable. And I think it's just going to be a wonderful thing that has never existed around here.
So how does one apply or whatnot if they're interested and they say
we're getting that word out now to the gyms. We let them know that says, if I call them up and say, you have any students that were a good match for you, but they came back and said they couldn't afford it. I said, let us know, and I'd like to talk with them about it. Or do you have any students that have recently quit because they can't finance it, and you are still letting them go there, but they really deserve that?
Yeah.
I says, I'll be happy to offset that expense for you and pay those scholarships. And that's what we're doing. We funding their tuition, basically.
Yeah.
To to the school, and we'll buy them their equipment if needed be, and get them started.
My view of this is going to be, I think eventually it's going to be a much larger thing, probably statewide at first, and then it could even grow bigger than that. But the point being, we'll have basically accredited participating facilities that can submit applications for kids. That's the way I see it working. And then we can
And
work
this
it
is for
like that.
combat sports.
Yeah.
All combat sports.
Right.
You know, we named it martial arts for kids, and I was just thinking about that at the beginning, and we still may consider changing. Myron came up with a great idea last week. Is
martial arts and combat sports for kids.
Yeah, you know, I came up with that name, but it came up with that the acronym you call it that
MAC, yeah.
Yeah, Max.
Max.
Yeah.
You know?
It just sounds really good.
Yeah, Max.
Yeah.
Well, the thing
Because,
about
you know, we talk about boxing gyms and
kickboxing,
wrestling.
I
Yeah,
mean,
wrestling
right,
gyms and everything.
right.
You know.
Yeah.
It's not going to be limited to just karate.
I actually work with Scorpions. I told Pat Ritchie, I said, Pat, you have any students who out? I'd like to that can't come back because they can't afford it. I'll be happy to pay tuition for the boys.
Right.
It's about $500 a year.
Yeah, for those who don't know what that is, that's Rummel's Wrestling. Wrestling Squad.
Actually, they changed this past school year. It's not Scorpion Wrestling anymore. It's Raider Wrestling.
Raider Wrestling.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just signed up my grandson yesterday.
You know, with this program, that same conversation that you've had with students, like, no, you're not going to give up. You actually had that same exact talk with me, because
I know.
I showed up at Mushin at the time, and I was going through a breakup, and just my world was. I needed to get back up on my feet, and I remember coming into Myron and said, "Look, I'm gonna do everything I can to keep my daughter in here, but I can't afford this. I can't stay here." And he's like, "You're not going to quit. You're not going to give up." And I'm like, did you not just hear me? Like, I
passed up something good tomorrow because I used to do the same thing.
Yeah, I wasn't going to I mean, she had way too much potential. I mean, I could see everything in her. I was like, there's no way. I said, you're not quitting. Absolutely not.
Yeah. And then, he took me under his wing, and it's cool because now, being a gym manager with NOLA BJJ, I see that with other people, and being able to be that, like that young boy that's in the class.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of potential, but I know he's struggling financially. So it's really cool to see that. And from a single mom's point of view, that's a really nice breath of fresh air.
He's going to be a good fit for the Max program.
Yeah. He's going to be great.
Yeah. And it's hard when you see a student do really well.
Yeah.
And then you don't see him anymore. It's like, man, it sucks because, they were good, they were, not to say bad students don't deserve it, but, it's
you see that potential in someone sometimes, and you're just like, man,
it disrupts
really
their whole lifestyle.
Yeah.
And they'll start failing in school because they feel they're a failure because they can't afford to take martial arts. You got to give these kids a break, man.
Yeah.
It's rough out there.
Yeah.